Summer has passed, and it's the first day of fall here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It sure feels like it as we prepare for this USL matchup between two teams bound for the USL playoffs, it seems. Pittsburgh Riverhounds hosting Indy 11 in the third and final regular season matchup between these two Eastern Conference squads. I'm Matt Geica alongside Paul Child and Gene Klein, and I say it feels like fall because it's a little bit cooler than we're accustomed to over this month of September, but also these two teams gearing up for the postseason. And if we look at the Eastern Conference standings, you see two teams that, like I mentioned, are in pretty good spots, especially Pittsburgh. Even though they've fallen behind Louisville by a point for second place, they can leap right back into second with at least a point here tonight. Of course, they're going for all three. Indy 11 trying to get back on the wagon after their first loss in 10 games last week against Penn FC. But as you see there, in a nice position, 4 points up on the playoff cutoff. Last week here in Pittsburgh, well, it felt a little bit more like late season dramatics because the Hounds came back with 2 goals in the final 5 minutes plus against the defending champs Louisville FC. And Paul, here you see Louisville building a lead against the run of play, though, because the Hounds were on the front foot for much of this one, then they found themselves down 2-0.
Yeah, it was a crazy kind of game like that. We had some great chances right at the beginning as well, Matt, and didn't capitalize on them. And then Louisville came back, got 2 goals, and then the last 5 minutes of the game, and we got right back into it in the last 6 minutes.
There you see the penalty kick, and Bernardo Forbes polished it off in stoppage time. The first time we've seen the Hounds get a point after trailing with 5 minutes to go or less in a match. Now, the last time these two teams got together, it was also a 2-2 draw. A little more crazy, though, Gene Klein, as you see on the football lines, American football, at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. Some goalie blunders, also some fine execution. There you see Joe Greenspan get a set-piece header, and the Hounds actually had a 2-1 lead on this Francois goal.
Yeah, the Riverhounds really had to work hard, and they gave up a couple gifts, actually, and I don't think Mike Kirk was in goal. It came out off his line a little bit quickly, and they really were not happy with how those goals were conceded.
And, well, it's just a wacky one, as you see. And there's Bob Lilly talking to Mike Kirk, who had the goal for a while. Now Dan Lind is back in after a pretty good performance last week against Louisville, despite giving up a couple. So we look forward to this matchup. As I mentioned, the third and final regular season game between these two. The first 2 were draws, so we've decided nothing. And much at stake in terms of Eastern Conference playoff positioning and leverage. Back for the kickoff on ESPN+.
You're a survivor.
I am a survivor, just like you're going to be a survivor, too.
Absolutely. I had the MRI when I went back and met with my gynecologist. She said, I want to err on the side of caution. One thing rolled after another. You know, I had the surgeries. The people down there just make it so much more doable.
Western Pennsylvania's top-rated health system for women's health is Allegheny Health Network.
Years you've done right by investing in your home. And now, you can use that equity to borrow money for the things you need. With a low 1.99% APR and no fees, you can apply for a home equity loan online and use the money to upgrade to that minivan, make home improvements, or finance college. At Clearview, we can help you find ways to use the equity in your home for more important things. Let us help. Visit us online for more information. Clearview Federal Credit Union, the next generation of personal banking.
The Riverhounds Technical Training Academy is back this winter at the AHN Sports Complex at Cool Springs. The 15-session program runs from December to March and is loaded with skills development taught by professional players from around the world. Registration opens in August. Sessions begin December 1st. Find out more by emailing wintertraining@riverhounds.com or by calling 412-325-7238.
Pittsburgh and Indy for the third and final time this regular season. Will there be a playoff matchup coming up? We'll find out in the coming weeks. As for right now, both teams trying to solidify their positions in the Eastern Conference playoff field. Tonight at Highmark Stadium, I'm Matt Geica with Paul Child and Gene Klein on ESPN+. Let's look at that Indy 11, starting 11. Not to be redundant, and this is one of the more organized teams in the USL. Talking to Bob Lilly before the match, guys. Indy is, well, they're savvy, they're veteran, and you see players like Wimet, Mitchell, and Iose, and Ferreira on the back line. It'll be a tough nut for the Hounds to crack, Gene.
Very tough. Martin Rennie's one of the most experienced coaches in the league, Matt. He's going to have them very well organized. They're going to be trying to lock things down early on and make it very difficult for the Riverhounds. They've been off for 10 days. They want to get their rhythm back and get into it. As we mentioned in the open, Indy 11 coming off a 9-game unbeaten streak before that loss to Penn. And Paul, well, last week we saw Romeo Parks and Nico Brett at the top of the Riverhounds formation. Not so this week, but we do see the return of Cristiano Francois in that attacking midfield.
And we know he can be electrifying. So I guess that Bob Lilly liked the way he came in last week and did a good job, and obviously got Parks out of there and keeping Parks on the bench ready to go again. And by the way, there's a bit of a delay because there's a hole in the goal net down at the
I was wondering what was holding us up here at kickoff, so some sleuthing by our very own Paul Child. And there you see Bob Lilly in his 18th year as a pro manager, first with the Riverhounds, coming over from the Rochester Rhinos, who are on hiatus this year. They'll be down in USL Division III next year. And as Gene told you, Martin Rennie, the 42-year-old from Scotland, manages Indy 11. For a 42-year-old, he already has plenty of experience in managing. This is his 12th year.
And he goes back to the days when a number of years ago when with the Cleveland City Stars, where he led them to a USL championship. So we're familiar with him. He always, his teams are always very well prepared, very well organized, and it's going to make for a very interesting matchup here this evening.
Off we go. It was 0-0 between these two teams on May 11th, one of the more cagey matches, to use a favorite word of Bob Lilly, of the year. And then it was wild and wacky at Lucas Oil Stadium 3 weeks ago in a 2-2 draw. You saw those highlights, and if you're a keeper, you might call them lowlights.
Definitely for goalkeepers. That's a goalkeeper's nightmare, I think, but they just still came away with a point, so they were happy with that, I'm sure. And very similar teams, actually. These two teams, when they play each other, it always seems to be a real battle, Matt. And Gino, I think we always see that, you know, very tight, making it hard for each other to play.
Tough to get through the midfield, and this is the first time Dan Lind plays against the Indy 11. The first time it was Kyle Morton, who's now out for the year with that ACL injury that he suffered. And he got the shutout despite not having to make a single save. The Riverhounds did not allow a shot on target against Indy. As here's a deep ball to Brett. Nico Brett, the Hounds' leading scorer, put it toward the goal. And is that out off of Owain Fawn Williams? It might be no. It'll be a goal kick as it's ruled by the head referee, Kevin Broadley, to have gone beyond the byline before Fawn Williams touched it.
Nico Brett there a little bit casual with that kick. I thought he was going to do something more, you know, put some more power behind it, try and get a shot onto goal, but he just seems to kind of just swing at it, and it trickled past the near post. It wasn't really a threat.
Owain Fawn Williams, the 31-year-old Welshman. He's played every minute of every match for Indy 11, just like last week's opposing keeper from Louisville, Greg Ranjitsingh. Two workhorses back-to-back the Hounds face.
Yeah, and last time, of course, Matt, you had mentioned we had some miscommunications and some bad decisions in the goalkeeping. Mike Kirk was in goal. Certainly a game he probably would want to forget. And Danny Lind back in, and of course he's had an exceptional season for the Riverhounds and done very well. And again in the game against Louisville, you saw him come up with a couple of key saves there for the Riverhounds. So looking forward to this matchup, and I think that again, experienced players all over the field, who can break down the first team first.
Nearly 10 players, was counting them up earlier today, on Indy have MLS experience. 8 players 30 years old or over, so it's a contrast in team building too here, as the Riverhounds just have a couple past the 30-year mark. And you saw Dan Lind handle the ball. He's still wearing that mask to protect the mending bones that were broken last week, or probably last month, against Bethlehem Steel.
That was a good ball by Greenspan there, getting down to Dover. Got this wide area again, Gino, on this right side, and now come up with the throw and looking for I think it's going to be a flick on more than anything, probably.
Here's the throw from Dover. Brett on the end. Cristiano Francois gets the touch. Right in front of the Brickyard Battalion supporters group for the Indy 11. They made the trip giveaway there. Lines crossed between Brett and Francois. And now Hugh Roberts pushed it up the middle of the pitch, but that's intercepted. Dylan Mayers.
Oh, there goes McInerney.
Lead ball, Jack McInerney. He's one to watch for sure. 9 goals on the year.
That's a good ball.
McInerney over to Yevgeny Starikov. And Starikov, the Ukrainian native, stops in the corner. Gets denied there immediately by Toby Adewale, Hounds central back. Brad Ring now knocks it into the midfield.
Hounds absorbing that pretty well there, Gino, and really got it back under control, and now they forced Indy right back into their own half again. And here they've got to get probably a chance. Maybe not now. I thought Francois was going to get it back to Dover, but
yeah, it's with and there goes McInerney.
Roberts
again.
fell down.
Good ball.
McInerney square and redirecting it wide. Mayers.
Yeah, very good. Great run by Mayers there, and very quick play from McInerney. As we're
going to get a look at it again.
Take a look at this one again, and then we see McInerney, square that one up. Mayers running right in between Toby Adewale and Greenspan, I believe, and just was not able to get his feet right to get that shot ball.
Roberts fell over. He got his feet tangled up in the turf or something, and they gave him the space. And they could have capitalized on that one really easy there. That was a great opportunity for Indy.
Not just the return for Cristiano Francois at the top of the formation, but at the back end of the formation, Hugh Roberts hasn't played back-to-back weeks. That's a first for him since he got going on that string of starts in the middle of the season. So it's Roberts, Greenspan, and Adewale, the central backs. Thomas Vankiazil, the Hounds' Swiss Army knife. He's playing left back. Here's a take. Starikov in the corner, crosses McInerney's volley over the top of the crossbar.
Indy 11 starting really well. I mean, really putting some pressure on the Riverhounds right now, trying to and played a couple balls in behind Paul and come off with some shots. They haven't been able to hit it accurately on target, but they're definitely getting the Hounds back on their heels.
Now, they're playing a lot quicker than the Hounds right now, Gino, I think, and getting these breakaways and getting some open chances and getting these crosses that are causing problems. And Hounds have got to kind of sort this one out really quickly here.
Pardon me, it was Matt Watson, by the way, the captain, making that play on the sideline.
And Matt, you had mentioned right before that with Roberts back in the lineup, and as you called him, our Swiss Army knife, Thomas Vankiazil, because he's probably been on about every position in the field. But it's interesting decision by Bob Lilly, to bring him and put him on the left side, which really amounts to with Dover on the right, Paul, a 5-man back line when you have 2 left-footed players, Ray Lee and Andy Laban, on the bench. So obviously coaching staff saw something. They want Thomas there to shore up that side.
Well, you might recall, Paul, we saw Ray Lee get into a minor argument or an animated discussion with Bob Lilly at the end of the match against Louisville City right in front of us.
Yes, we did.
I'm not talking out of school. It was within view of everybody in the stadium. So I don't know. Maybe there's something to that, but Lee hasn't sat out very much this year. He's made 23 appearances and 21 of those starts.
Yeah, and those kind of things happen. The players get upset.
Right, it happens every week. And we just happened to see that one.
Yeah. And it was right on show for us, so we caught it. But you got to get players get upset and get into an argument sometimes, and the coach has got to set the tone.
Well, it's just interesting that you have 2 of those guys in the 18 who are pretty much the same position. So we'll see if Bob and his coaching staff have some additional plans for how they're going to utilize both Ray Lee and Andy Laban as the game wears on. Because we've seen Vankiazil obviously a lot more central, but he pushes out on that left back a lot when they need him. But normally it doesn't start in that role,
And it should be noted, Thomas Vankiazil played left back at Cincinnati, a game that Bob Lilly and many of the players felt like they should have had, and they played extremely well at Cincy. So it's not like he's out of position necessarily, just a lineup decision worth noting here as we work our way toward the 9th minute. Jordan Dover, he's been a stalwart at right back all season after playing for Lilly last year in Rochester. Francois, another former Rhino, steps off the touchline. Wanted to gun it through for Dover, but it was headed off at the pass by Iose Garcia. And cleared down by Indy 11. Looking fairly sharp here coming off the 10-day layoff, I will say that much.
Yeah, they definitely out with some energy here.
And they need the points, obviously. Every team wants to get the points at this point of the year if you're not eliminated officially, as Dan Lind has to rush this one a little bit. But Indy's closer to the playoff cutoff than the Riverhounds.
That's a good ball to Francois.
Francois has the speed, but he cannot beat the man to the ball. That's Carlisle Mitchell of Trinidad and Tobago.
A little bit too far for him, but if that had been another 5 yards shorter, he'd have been on top of that one and taking that player on one-on-one, which we know he can do really well.
Yeah, another big change for the Riverhounds with Cristiano Francois inserted back into the lineup, and of Romeo Parks, who has been there for the past couple games. So perhaps looking for Francois' pace on the outside, Paul, to try to get behind him.
And we'll probably see him switch again too, Gino. Sometimes he starts, he starts over here on the right, and then he ends up going on the left side if he's not creating too much. So that might happen as well.
The Riverhounds are on a 6-game unbeaten streak at home as this ball flies off the head of Jordan Dover and off the roof of the Indy dugout here. They're 3-0-3 since dropping a 1-0 decision to Charleston back in mid-July. 8-2-6 overall at home in USL play. Indy 11. First year in the USL and their second trip to Pittsburgh. They were established in 2014 as an NASL team. And playing their games at Lucas Oil Stadium, also the home of the Indianapolis Colts of the NFL this year. They've drawn some really nice sized crowds. Francois, can he beat his man to it? He cannot, but it will be a throw for Pittsburgh here, about 10 feet shy of the corner flag. 11th minute. Thanks for joining us here on ESPN Plus tonight.
Game seems to be calming down a little bit now, Matt, Gene. I think it's, they've kind of got the butterflies out of the system, and now we're kind of getting into set plays and getting ready. I don't know what happened there. The goal got kicked out over the end line, and goal kick coming up for Indy.
A reminder that Select is the official soccer ball of the USL. You see Fawn Williams ready to place it for the goal kick. For the latest Select products and special offers, visit selectsportamerica.com and receive free shipping on orders over $50.
I think one thing that we've seen so far is really a tremendous amount of compactness between both teams, which is making it very, very difficult to play in between those lines and try to find some space for the midfield. So as a result, it's a little bit choppy right now, and the only success has been, can you get some stuff in behind? But Indy 11 will push their lineup. The Riverhounds will push their lineup, and not a lot of room in the midfield to maneuver at this point. And as you said, Paul, maybe things will open up a little bit as the game wears on.
The Riverhounds have gone a while without a clean sheet, too. That's part of the goal tonight as well. They gave up multiple goals at home last time out here against Louisville. That was a first this season in USL action. Thomas Vankiazil is going to draw a beat on this ball and head it right in on Dan Lind, the all-time Pitt Panthers leader in minutes played. Dan Lind, after a couple of years with Rochester, now the #1 keeper with the Riverhounds, and he's got the lead for the Golden Glove, boys. He is at .66 goals against per match. That's on pace for a Hounds record, and it won't even be close, in fact.
He's had a terrific season, and I think I got to be very pleased with the progress that Dan has made throughout the course of the year, and spent the season with Bob in Rochester, and he is no stranger to Pittsburgh, as you mentioned, Matt. Being a star for for Pitt the last few years. So he's done very well, made a lot of progress. And what has impressed me with Dan is like there are stretches of time where he's not doing a lot, but then he can come up with a big save, and always very active in these situations on the free kick and cleaning up balls in the air. So we'll see how this one looks.
He's barking out orders. Ayoze drives the left foot into it. Strong ball. Into the box, headed once, knocked down and volleyed by Starikov wide of the goal.
Boy, Indy getting some chances, actually. They've had the best chances so far, it seems. And any of these balls going in there, they're causing us a havoc.
We're not used to seeing the Riverhounds let a ball bounce there in their area, too. Yeah. And that caused some difficulty. There you see Roberts going up. No one could find it. Vankiazil actually gave a bit of a bear hug for a moment on Starikov, and then let go quickly.
Those are the ones that drive you crazy as coach, is that second ball, Paul. The first one goes up in the air, and then they let the second one drop and get a shot out of that.
Yeah. I mean, and they're all waiting for each other to do something about it, and that's when somebody jumps in there and gets a crack on goal.
Well, the Hounds have been notorious for starting quickly on home pitch. Here's a bump, and the first foul against Indy goes against Ayoze.
I don't think they need to rush this one. They want to hold it up, get Roberts and Greenspan in there, where maybe this dead ball situation, which we've been pretty successful on the last couple of times, getting Greenspan on the end of these could be the thing we're looking for.
Yeah, Ben Zemanski wisely just stood right over the ball and waited for some of the big guys to get up in there. So we'll see where he serves. He's going to be looking for Greenspan. Roberts is up there. Vankiazil. All those guys can get up and win something.
6 Hounds there breaking toward the goal. It's a good-looking ball that drops onto an Indy head, though. Matt Watson got it out of there. Riverhounds throw in. Zemanski has taken so many of those free kicks since Kevin Kerr came out. Francois ducking through traffic. Toby Adewale gives him an outlet, but the ball's too quick for Jordan Dover to hold.
Yeah, not a good ball from...
Yeah, terrible ball there. Yeah. He couldn't do anything with that one, and that's where we've been a little bit sloppy at the moment, Gino. I mean, there's nobody around this player. You've got to get it closer to him and make it work, and get that out your system.
Yeah, I think so. It's like I said, as compact as it's been, I mean,
it's hard.
They have to find a way to maybe get some rhythm and and control that tempo, because that's the only way you're going to unbalance some of either the midfield line or the back line a little bit, and show a little bit of patience to try to keep the thing moving, as we see Dabo wisely doing there. But look at the press from Indy 11, and Mares like putting out a volley under right away.
That's not a common sight here at Highmark. Usually it's the Riverhounds putting the pressure on. This time they're the victim of it. Can Forbes hold in? He will. Referee says play on. There was a bump here on Nico Brett, but the Riverhounds had the advantage. Vankiazil.
Francois is getting out wide here, which I'm pretty sure is going to get the ball, trying to get that opportunity one-on-one.
He wants to run it.
He does want it against Ayoze. He crosses. It's loose. Nico Brett lurking. You heard the crowd rise, especially the Steel Army, but no shot released there. Hound still in possession. Brett running on.
Zemanski got a back heel on that one, and it was heading towards goal, and nobody else could see that quick and get on top of it again, but pretty quick.
Throw for Pittsburgh here, right in front of the moving train.
As we saw the engineer waving from the
I missed that
train. Yeah.
Is that a new one here, maybe, in our 6th season at Highmark?
That's a new one.
Thomas Vankiazil.
We love you too, Conrail.
It's got to be entertaining for an engineer to ride on by and see a pro soccer match going on about 15 feet outside of his window.
And get a clip 2 seconds of fame on ESPN Plus.
That's right. Good plug there as we take a look at Cristiano Francois' cross that led to a scramble.
Yeah, still a lot of defenders in the middle there. He got a back heel on it, but defenders did well getting that out of
well defended. I think it was Carlisle Mitchell that was able to clear that one, to and get under. But again, that's where we see the danger of Francois. I mean, put him in a 1v1 situation, and he is trying to get around those guys, and he's able to do that and get a good serve in.
Well, speaking of that, we just saw a foul here called against Dylan Mayers, the Indianapolis native, and he's still down, doubled over. Francois was trying to run past him, or maybe even through him, and ball was up in the air. I'm surprised they gave the foul the way they did. Kevin Broadley ruling that it was more Mayers' fault than Francois'.
Yeah, he got caught in a funny position there. He was up pretty high and he was on his way down, and he clipped his legs and flipped him upside down. But I noticed something over here when Francois is going wide here, you know, getting a one-on-one. You're seeing another Indy player getting over. Two players are closing him down right away.
Yeah, and here's Francois on the kick.
Yes, he will take this restart. The Haitian going for goal! And just a foot high over Fawn Williams.
And that's why he was taking it, because you know, he had his head down and looked focused. I'm thinking he's going directly to go on that one.
And he caught it really well. He just didn't come down quick enough. It was on his way down. It was just a little bit too hard, and I don't think the keeper would have.
Well, he has some of the more dynamic strikes of the season for Pittsburgh. It's not like it's a huge surprise that he took it upon himself. That may have actually grazed the top of the crossbar on second look. What a beautiful sunset we're seeing to our left here at Highmark Stadium, Pittsburgh, PA. The site's final of a 3-game homestand for Pittsburgh. They beat Bethlehem and then drew dramatically against Louisville last week. This will not be a match like Bethlehem Steel where it got wide open in the second half. This one is fighting for every inch.
Yes, it's going to be tight all the way through until something breaks. It's going to be, I think, somebody making a mistake, or kind of like a goalkeeper maybe, or a player making a bad pass and somebody capitalizing on it.
Again, there was only one shot on target between these two teams the last time they played here. And a foul on the Hounds this time. Mohamed Dabo getting a warning from Broadley, the referee. Juan Guerra on his backside, recovering from that bump. 2 fouls apiece in the early going as this match slightly gets more physical in the 20th minute.
Dabo gives him a helping hand to get back on his feet. And yeah, I mean, these are, you know, we're late in September now. The points are crucial, and you know, Indy and Pittsburgh both going for it, and it's going to be tight and it's going to be combative, and every little play counts as we see that one cleared away.
Hugh Roberts. Roberts, one of the taller Riverhounds players. That ball's over our broadcast booth. That is also a new one this year.
If you didn't, I said that one's mine, Bill.
I know. I was ready to head that one back.
Just carried a little too much. That's back on East Carson Street. That's wild stuff. Well, you never know. If you come out here, you might see something new. Aerial ball is going to check up for Francois.
Keeps it in.
He does well to get around it. Dover took a look, and now he wants to go wide. Jordan Dover bends one back post, a little too high for Zemansky. Thomas Van Kiezeel there. Tommy V, the rookie, stepped on the ball awkwardly and lost control. Watson trying to break out. The captain of Indy 11 does eventually draw enough contact to get the whistle against Van Kiezeel.
Yeah. Great little battle with Van Kiezeel. He was not letting him get away. And,
no, he wasn't going to let up until he stopped him some way.
And honestly, they'll take that foul right there.
Thomas Van Kiezeel, the Division II Player of the Year last season for the University of Charleston, West Virginia Golden Eagles. They also won the D2 National Championship. Did Charleston. Joe Greenspan of Navy volleys that one skyward. Now he's up in the air as Greenspan, going over the back of Starikov, and the Hounds win possession.
Thomas Van playing D2 soccer. A lot of D1 programs would have loved to have him for 4 years. He's been a terrific addition to the Riverhounds this year.
Relative unknown here in Pittsburgh, even though he did win the championship just about 3 hours down the road. As you say, there's so much focus on D1 soccer. There's plenty of talents. D2 and further on down, NAIA as well. Ben Zemansky takes this ball. He's out of University of Akron, by the way, is Zemansky. Francois can't get that one off the errant touch from Nico Brett. Francois rising up, still fighting, and then Dabo gets the call here against Mares.
It's real physical. Players are getting hit every time they're getting the ball. They're just closing them down, getting hit in the back. I think the referee's got to, at some stage here, is get a yellow card out here, Gino, and calm things down again before it gets too crazy.
We are getting close to that range, it feels like.
As we see the foul by Maris.
Watson, the Englishman. Deep for McInerney, but Joe Greenspan wins the ball. And there's Dan Lind, a quick bobble to save a potential corner kick.
Got to keep an eye on McInerney. I mean, he is, you know, he's been out here in the left side, but then he came over a little bit more central that time. Starikoff is now on the left, but his runs are really good, Paul. He's always looking to try to get in between players, and you know, almost every time they played him so far, he's found the channels very, very well.
Yeah, he's really creative too, and it makes it difficult for defenders to keep up with him because they don't know, they're hesitant to go with him, and then he checks back and makes it difficult for them. So, yeah, you're right, Gino. He's a live wire. He's always on the move, you know, so he's always looking. So he's one of those guys, a defender. It's, you know, you got to keep an eye on, and if you lose him for a second and they play him early, he can get through.
Carl Ouimet headed that ball out. Jack McInerney, 175 MLS appearances. The first 95 of those with the Philadelphia Union. A ball into the box. Vaughn Williams finds this one. And McInerney scored both Indy goals on August the 29th in that 2-2 draw in Indianapolis, including the equalizer in the 94th minute. A contentious one. The Hounds felt like the 11 got a couple extra minutes tacked on. That was a weird ending, too, because the whistle blew to end the match with Indy setting up for a corner kick. I have not seen that in my life before.
Yeah.
No, that does not happen very often.
So maybe that was a makeup call in its own right. I have no idea. As Francois turns up pitch. On the counterattack, the Riverhounds here off the leg of Ioze, who's really done a fine job closing down space on this near side wing.
Yeah, Dover not getting getting the ball off quick enough, and Francois pointing down to the corner. They're looking for it. We've got to get more accurate with these passes and getting them to feed.
I thought he had a couple options there to Nico, Brett, and he played Dover back a little bit. So
Zemansky does find a way to angle that one on target with Juan Guerra in his kitchen, but not a very dangerous ball. Vaughn Williams was unchallenged. Reminder, on a busy night like tonight in the USL, follow the official Twitter account to stay up to date on news, live game updates, and highlights from around the league 24/7. Follow @USL on Twitter. We already have a final tonight. 4-0 Bethlehem defeats Toronto FC2. Hugh Roberts called for the foul here. And gentlemen, that means the Riverhounds cannot clinch a playoff spot tonight. They needed losses by Bethlehem and Ottawa, plus a win here. It was an improbable formula, but it was possible this evening.
Yeah, and of course I think the Hounds, all they're worried about is getting their 3 points and let everything sort itself out. But again, now dangerous foul here for the Hounds, and look for Indy to whip it in.
A lot of fighting in that box. Ioze, Watson, bicycle kick over the top from Carlisle Mitchell.
Boy, how is that Indy player so wide open at the far post there? I mean, outside the box, and we had plenty of guys in there that somebody should have picked him up, but nobody did.
Yeah, I mean, a really good ball by
very good
Garcia.
Ball.
I mean, put it over. And
look at this.
Watson didn't quite catch it cleanly, but he did put it down into the turf and led to a lively bounce. And Mitchell going for the low percentage play and his 3rd goal of the season, but not to be. Dan Lind, a back spinner over the center circle. Well, the Riverhounds and Bob Lilly wanted a quick start here, but they've had to absorb pressure from Indy more often than not. And the Riverhounds are still looking for that attack rhythm. Maybe they can find it here. Dover again has the ball at his feet. The Canadian-born wingback, Jordan Dover.
Good answer.
Slides
ball to
one
Nico
through.
Brett.
Really
job,
was.
Brett.
And then Brett pushed it out to Canardo Forbes, wearing the captain's armband. But Funky Azil can't get past the defending of Carl Ouimet, but he just gave it up in the midfield there to Mohamed Dabo. And the Hounds can go back on the attack. Funky Azil steps past one defender, feeds it over to Dabo. nifty little ball, but Starikov got in the way. Pardon me, it was Brad Ring.
Pretty good possession this time from the Riverhounds. They're moving it. You know, when things weren't available up front, they were able to bring that back and restart the play. But the ball's moving a little bit quicker now, Paul. I think that, you know, the tempo is sorting itself out a little bit as we see a long one there by Danny Lynn.
Zemansky getting into Brad Ring's face. Ring, the 5th year member of the Indy 11, longest tenured member of the club, also has the most appearances in franchise history. Ring, the 31-year-old, knocks it far side and into some traffic, and that's where the Riverhounds will get the throw.
Forbes putting him under pressure there really well and made him kick the ball out of bounds and win the ball back. And I think the Hounds have got to do that a little bit more. Gino, we're kind of giving Indy too much respect, giving them too much room here, and we've got to close them down like they're closing us down and making it very hard for us to create anything.
Yeah, but I mean, good battle going on out there with Vonkia Zeal and Canardo Forbes and Watson and Wilmette for Indy 11. So a lot of interesting individual duels, and here's one of the main ones: Francois and Garcia.
Francois pulls up. Dabo, native of Senegal, playing in the holding midfield again. Hugh Roberts takes a jaunt upfield. I don't think we've seen him this far up in a normal run of play all season long. Both he and Toby Adewale have joined the fray to try to just loosen up something here, coming up from their central back positions. Dover couldn't slide that through. Intercepted by Guerra, and down it goes toward the Hounds' end. Starikov, recent USL Player of the Week or Team of the Week.
That has to be a push on Starikov.
2-on-2 battle, and yes, there is the call that you were looking for there, Gene. A little too frisky from the 29-year-old.
Yeah, I think he took out 2 Riverhounds with 1 push.
2-for-1 deal, just goes down as 1 foul.
But he has a motor too. I mean, and we've seen he and McInerney and Maris, they're a very active front 3, Paul.
Yeah, they can create a lot of things and really cause some problems. And we've got such big, tall, lanky kind of defenders, you know, Roberts and Greenspan.
Yeah.
When they get it down on the ground, they have to take some quick strides, and they're not being able to do that, you know, and close them down and win the ball back. They're making it hard for those guys.
No, I think that's an excellent point, really. I mean, it's a very different matchup when you look at their front 3 versus our 3 central defenders, because you know, both the Maris, Starikov, McInerney are, you know, a little bit shorter stature, but quick and powerful.
Very quick.
And you have Greenspan, Roberts, and even Adewale, who are a little bit more on the tall, lanky side, not the quickest off the turn, and that could pose some problems.
Zemansky to Forbes, and he gave it up, a little hasty with that ball. And that whole sequence was generated from Nico Brett on the high press. He got right on top of Carlisle Mitchell, who dumped it out into touch, and so that's more the formula for Pittsburgh.
Kind of strange too, we're watching it's usually Dover and Forbes over here, usually combined in down this right side, because since Francois in here, it's Dover and Francois, and it seems like we're going forward and then we're turning and coming back and going defensively rather than attacking at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, a couple times Francois had that, and he you know, going right at Garcia out there, and then turned and popped it back. And you know, and look, if nothing's on, that's fine. Let's circulate the ball. But there seemed to be some decisions that maybe he could lay something in between some defenders, and Nico Brett playing off the shoulder of those central defenders.
Hard foul from Brad Ring on Ben Zemansky, who tumbles down to the artificial surface. Couldn't have felt too good. And although I'm sure the players are enjoying a respite from the hot temperatures we've seen in the last 2 weeks. Temps in the 60s.
Yeah, it's interesting looking out the crowd, and everybody's bundled up here. You know, it's like they got their coats and jackets on, and the people that forgot the fall started today are paying for it, you know?
Yeah.
This ball is a mile high, as high as some of the skyscrapers beyond the Monongahela River. But Joe Greenspan also is familiar with the clouds, so he pulls that down very well.
It's a great
Dan
temperature,
Linslow
really, Matt, too.
Yeah,
This
to
is
play, I would imagine it's pretty
if
ideal,
I was-
right?
Yeah, this is the kind of weather a player should really enjoy. You know, you got to get some real good runs in, and you can it sharpens you up usually.
No overheating tonight. You wouldn't imagine that would be an issue at all. Cracking this one, Starikoff, and Hugh Roberts looks like he wants to let it ride, and he will. And Dover right in front of Bob Lilly, who's yelling instructions. He's ready to try to trigger something here from this near touch line. The Riverhounds finished with 4 of 5 on the road, so onus on tonight to get some points out of it.
Yeah, Bob wanted something specific out of there. Pointing, directing, and
Roberts has to get rid of that. Starikoff right on top of him.
Yeah, Roberts don't have much choice because his long strides and the smaller player behind him, you know, he's putting him under pressure and he's being rushed and having to get rid of it as soon as he can.
The throw from Garcia, Indy's wing back.
Good steal there, that was, and here's a great opening on the left side of the field.
Zemansky. He'll run forward as he laid it back. Canardo Forbes lugging it now.
Now they get some numbers in the box too.
Yeah.
Brett and Zemansky running up. Zemansky 1 touches, a little bit away from its intended receiver, Forbes. And Kenny will have to reset this one. The Hounds recycle.
Yeah, I think that ball was played with such pace, Ben couldn't really turn with it because, you know, the better option might have been if he get a 1-2 Thomas Von Gazil in behind. But where the ball was played to him, he had only one option, was to knock it back.
Those quick combinations haven't quite been there for Pittsburgh yet. 35th minute. Here's Francois trying to end the drought, and he does earn our first corner kick of this match. Riverhounds take it.
Francois is really dangerous, not just with his speed, but when he does get down this line, you know, he's hitting a real hard ball across hard, a real powerful ball, and players are really having a tough time handling it.
He is, Paul. I mean, those are really wicked deliveries that he's popping in there. And the other thing is he doesn't need much space to get that ball in.
No.
He does lead the team in crosses, does Francois. Francois there to the 6. Mitchell with the clear. Roberts spun down. Another corner upcoming. Roberts and Greenspan right in that target area for Cristiano Francois. He'll try again. He's going to go a little bit quicker this time. A little more loft this time. Back post. Swatted by Watson. And out into the midfield again. Francois gets to this ball, touches it down softly, working against McInerney. This cross finds Adewale, who heads it back toward goal. Greenspan volleys wide.
Yeah, great little. I mean, again, Francois getting that service in, but I like that he was able to head that back across because that's a really dangerous opportunity for the Riverhounds.
And a productive possession all in all for Pittsburgh. They just kept the pressure on.
And we got scored last week in that situation where the ball went to the far post and the player headed back across, back to the penalty area, 6-yard box. Player comes running in and puts it away. He couldn't quite get that ball back far enough. He hit the defender on the return ball.
Very similar situation too, Paul. It was after a set piece. It was after a corner kick.
Yeah.
And the defending team cleared it, but not far enough away to alleviate the danger. The Riverhounds had 15 corner kicks last week. That was obviously a season high. They got nothing out of it. I'm sure that was an emphasis on the training ground this week.
That's frustration. It's frustrating for the players because you keep getting these opportunities. We kept saying that something's got to come out of one of these corner kicks, and Louisville did a great job of just keeping us out, actually.
And Paul, you mentioned earlier the combination Canardo Forbes and Jordan Dover, and now we see Forbes coming out here on the right side and switch with Francois is going to try to run a Carl Wilmette for a little bit, but I think he's had pretty good success against Ayoza Garcia. You know, he's been able to put a number of good crosses in.
Bunky Azir was dispossessed over there by Carl Wilmette, but the Riverhounds are quick to take it right back.
There's a
deep
great
ball
ball.
here,
Great
Francois.
ball.
Looks over his shoulder and finds it.
He's going to cut it back and hit it. Oh.
The Hounds number 7 to the end line and in. Oh. And a miss hit from Brett. That had all the makings of the opening goal.
Oh, it really did. Terrific. And again, you know, I was just about to say, we got to get Carter Forbes on the ball, and he comes on and delivers that one over to Cristiano.
You know what I thought he was going to do here, Gene? I thought he was going to cut it back onto his right foot, which he usually does, and then has a shot.
Boom,
but he fooled me too.
Roll back to Nico Brett. Nico he didn't like get his feet.
Yep.
You know.
Brett had 3 shots on target last week, 2 in a quick sequence in the first half. That was part of that first half of frustration for the Hounds. They were dominant against Louisville. They had 3 on target, 6 total shots in the first half last week. Ended up with 16 total, but then couldn't get a goal until the 86th minute when Joe Holland, the substitute, got some help, an own goal, scored by Louisville. And that started the comeback that was capped by the Kenardo Forbes penalty kick, and the PK was won, let's not forget, off a terrific ball from Dabo to Nico Brett. Yeah. And here are the Riverhounds working in a 0-0 game, 39th minute. Lily saying before the match, it's time to start winning these games against these top opponents. If we want to be a top team ourselves, then you can't draw them at home.
No, if you're going to be the best, you got to beat the best.
That's an old wrestling slogan,
from
what I remember. Yeah, maybe Hulk Hogan said it back in the 80s. A little throwback. No less true, though, no matter who says it. Roberts lets it go. Reminds me of his 90s night tonight at Highmark Stadium. We heard some older tunes, some boy band stuff.
Well, they got that cliche's been around before the 90s, so it's
yes, that one. Has had a long lifespan, has it not?
It has.
Speaking of history, the Riverhounds, if they can stay in the top 4, guys, they can host a playoff game for the first time since 2006, when a couple of men I know were coaching this squad.
Yeah,
2 men alongside of me, in fact.
It's hard to believe it's been that long. So it'd be great to see the Hounds get a home match for sure.
Hasn't happened at Highmark Stadium, obviously. This facility opened in 2013. Forbes looking this way and that as he's closed down by Juan Guerra, but Guerra wasn't taking a step too far in either direction, playing it a little conservatively. Big step here from Ouimet. Carl Ouimet wanted to run the gauntlet. Starikoff touched it for McInerney, but it slid right by his foot.
Yeah, if he could have maybe played that in a little bit more, the Riverhounds would have been in trouble, but it was just a little bit behind him.
Backtracking here.
Good ball.
Letting one go and missing. Brad Ring over there? No, it's
McInerney.
McInerney, yeah, number 99, switching sides.
But again, I mean, this Ayoza Garcia over here, he has hit some great diagonal balls.
Yeah, really nice balls. He's finding that open play. The player's not got a great deal of space, but enough to where he's getting this ball to drop down and cause us problems back there. And Svonke O'Neill is having a little tough time with him because he's a handful.
Yeah, and if Svonke O'Neill moves up a little bit higher, which you want him a little bit higher up the pitch to open up the game a little bit, and then they're finding that space between Svonke O'Neill and Adewale.
Brad Ring bottles in the Riverhounds after that clearance attempt by Dan Lind. But here's a win by Forbes to get the ball back. Dabo, Zemansky, Francois puts his head down. A familiar look this season, but a heavy touch. And Ouimet takes advantage. Carl Ouimet, formerly of the Montreal Impact Academy, native Canadian, plays that one off the body of another Canadian here, Jordan Dover.
Well, that last play made me laugh a little bit because Francois took off the ball and Ben tried to overlap him. I'm like, Ben, you're not going to get around.
You're not going to catch him.
You're not going to get around Cristiano Francois.
And here's a difficult situation again where they've been. This has been troubling for the Hounds. This one, from these, this is probably the second or third one that they've had from this side.
Yeah. And again, Garcia on this ball, and he's really put some very dangerous balls into the box.
Ayoze Garcia, 32 years old, from Spain, leads this team with 6 assists. You can see why with the accurate setup foot. We've seen him put to use a couple of occasions tonight so far.
You got Mares on the ball also, so it could be one of those two.
It might be Mares. It will be. Right footer this time, in swinger. cleared up into the atmosphere, and Dan Lind has to leap on the goal line to keep that bit of friendly fire from Joe Greenspan from leading to big trouble. And there's an Indy player down at the 6.
It went down, I think.
Yevgeny Eugene Starikov flat on his back. And out comes Brian Gerlach, the Indy athletic trainer, to check on him.
I think Bob is going to get these guys together quick.
Starikov reaching for his left instep, it appears.
Yes,
has 5 goals on the year to Starikov. And he came down.
Looks like somebody came down on the.
Maybe it was Greenspan whose foot landed on his.
Yeah.
As both went up for that ball.
Did he really? I don't know.
Or maybe Starikov stepped on his.
It just looked like he was trying
foot.
to jump up, and it happened as he was trying to get off the ground.
Right.
You can get an inside look at life on and off the field from a player's perspective every Wednesday evening in the latest edition of From the Pitch on USLsoccer.com. And flat on the pitch is Starikov, and not getting up anytime soon, it appears. Head referee Kevin Broadley checking on the situation. Good time for an informal discussion here at the sideline for both teams. As we look at the Riverhounds in the black and the gold, and they're discussing things with Bob Lilly in the background. That's Mark Pulisic in the foreground, giving a quick tutorial to Ben Zemansky. Maybe talking about that play where he tried to get past Francois on the left wing.
He's probably saying, don't bother, just stay back 5 yards and wait for it to lay back to you.
Just get to the far post, you know?
Starikov's coming off the pitch over the end line.
Well, that's a blow for Indy 11 for sure, and it looks like they're going to have to make a substitution because he has been very effective as we see the trainer given the international.
I'd like to see that again if we could, just to see what happened to him. I don't know, really. I'd like to look at it more. But
as we said, that front three with Starikov and McInerney and Maris have been very, very active and given the Riverhounds all kinds of trouble. So that's a blow for Indy. They certainly don't want to make that sub at this point of the game.
No.
They do have options in terms of attackers. Suni Saad, 4 goals on the year. A lethal free kick specialist, Saad.
And that looks like who's coming on Matt.
That would make sense. So Saad on in the 44th
look at this again.
See what we can tell here.
See,
I think it happens when he lands, because then all of a sudden he comes up lame as he touches down.
Yeah, he's definitely he's really in pain down there. He's got 3 physiotherapists around him, and he's not getting up.
Make it 45th minute. We're going to add 2 minutes to this first half. That's the call from Alfonso Fajardo, the 4th official. The Riverhounds in possession. They've scored late in the first half a couple of times this year. Most recently, Canardo Forbes pulling a goal back against Bethlehem 2 weeks ago with that brilliant drive from outside the box. Starikov out, Suni Saad in. The former Gatorade High School Player of the Year in suburban Detroit. He's played internationally for the land of his ancestors, Lebanon. This ball a little too far for Brett to get to. Fawn Williams says, that's mine.
Yeah, that was a wishful pass there, just trying to hit it over the top and hope he was going to get to that, but no problem for the keeper to just come out and pick that one up.
Unless I'm mistaken, neither keepers had to make a save yet. Maybe Fawn Williams in the early going on that soft shot from Brett. I'm fairly certain that was on target, but nothing that he had to sweat over. Same deal here for Lind off his line.
Yeah, and that's really been their activity, Matt. I think you're right. I mean, both of them come off their line pretty well, handled a few crosses and some free kicks, but nothing really where they've had to go to full stretch to make any type of save.
Maybe a half minute left in this half. Forbes bottled in. Adewale on the switch of play. Vankiazio out wide as you can get on this narrow surface. Francois with him.
Need to get it in the mixer here.
Last chance. Brett's running clear, but the ball's over his wrong shoulder. He has to go retrieve. Dover Brett, Hounds have to make something of this or the whistle's going to sound. Brett's shot, and there's the full reach from Vaughn Williams.
That is.
It surprised me there with that with the shot. If he'd have got some more on it, he might have caught the keeper, but he was a good distance out there. And
halftime score, and that's right at halftime. And we saw a great little dip of the shoulder from Nico Brett and pulled it back in his left.
Sure.
But,
not a look we've seen often from him this year either. Usually he's in close, quick combinations.
Right.
That time more of a, well, let it go from the outside. And why not? But we go to half. You might have heard the whistle. Vaughn Williams jogs off. He's the possessor of the top save of the night so far. No score between Indy and Pittsburgh. Two teams seeking to lock up playoff positioning here in the USL's Eastern Conference. Well, when we come back from Highmark Stadium, we'll look ahead for both these squads. Obviously some big matches to come as we've arrived at the end of the USL's regular season. We're close enough. And for Pittsburgh, a rivalry matchup. For Indy, more to come against some of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. 0-0 on ESPN+. Stay with us.
A lot of clients ask us what makes us different. The first thing that comes to mind for me is Joyce's signature collection. We truly are jewelers. We're passionate about jewelry. We understand the process of making jewelry and what it takes to make the highest quality product at the best value. We travel the world to bring back and create the most unique diamond jewelry collection that you will find anywhere. If you've never shopped Joyce's, I personally invite you to visit our store. I know you're gonna love it.
At Joyce's Jewelry.
I just want to make sure that I just do everything I can to just protect him and love him and just, you know, just be the best mom I can be.
Yeah. And with your first, you want to know the doctor because you want to be comfortable with them.
Yeah. I don't want to feel like I'm at a baby factory.
Be like this.
The region's fastest growing labor and delivery program is at Allegheny Health Network.
Years, you've done right by investing in your home. And now, you can use that equity to borrow money for the things you need. With a low 1.99% APR and no fees, you can apply for a home equity loan online and use the money to upgrade to that minivan, make home improvements, or finance college. At Clearview, we can help you find ways to use the equity in your home for more important things. Let us help. Visit us online for more information. Clearview Federal Credit Union, the next generation of personal banking.
The Hounds have never tied the same opponent 3 times in the USL's modern era in one given season, but we're 45 minutes away from just that result against Indy 11 here at Highmark Stadium. And as we said before the break, and by the way, I'm Matt Geica with Paul Child and Gene Klein, coming to you from high above the pitch here in Pittsburgh. We have, well, more to look forward to. 5 more matches for the Riverhounds, 4 more for Indy 11, and in the immediate future for Indy, we're looking at some matches against further playoff foes. Now, they have Tampa Bay at home, but then at Cincinnati and at Louisville to finish the season, not to mention Bethlehem, which is still hanging in there too in the top 8. Yeah, Gene, this is not an easy ride to the finish line.
That is not. Boy, when you look at that, Matt, that's a very difficult span to finish up the season with, and they're going to really have to be on their game, and that's why, you know, that makes this game tonight even more important because they need to pick up points, and it's going to be a rough road for them all the way through. So with the Hounds tonight, and then Cincy, Bethlehem, Louisville, they got a tough road, but they're a good team. We're seeing their quality tonight, and I'm sure they're going to be there at the end.
Indy with a record of 2-3-3 against their upcoming opponents here on the regular season, counting tonight, I should say. Well, the Riverhounds will also have a midweek match coming up on Wednesday. It'll be down in Harrisburg. And, well, speaking of draws, they've drawn against Penn FC twice this year, both 0-0. We're looking for our first goal in that season series at FNB Field on Wednesday at 6:30. The Keystone Derby Cup call is up for grabs. And as you see there, a lot of road matches, 4 out of 5 to finish.
Yeah, this isn't an easy schedule either. You know, I think, you know, we've got to go versus, we're going to play Cincinnati, obviously, Atlanta, New York. These two teams are struggling a little bit, but this is a tough schedule as well. And I think they're just going to go down to the wire here, where you've got all the teams just battling away. Like, as we can see tonight, Indy just really trying to make it as hard as possible for the Hounds to get any chances, and trying to come away here with 3 points.
And just the matchup against Penn FC, we've seen this year the Riverhounds play pretty well, but unable to nick a goal against their Keystone rivals. We go back to very early on in the season. There's Romeo Parks getting stopped. Kevin Kerr wearing the captain's armband for that one of many missed chances for the Riverhounds. And, well, Gene, you know it's usually pretty physical between these two sides as well.
It really is, and as we can see some chirping with the referee there, and it will be another difficult one, because Penn FC certainly wants to pick up their game at the end of the season and try to pick up some points. So it'll be a physical battle. Both sides know how important these last games are.
And Penn FC beat Indy 11 just 10 days ago, even though Penn has fallen off in the last couple of weeks. Even though they are unlikely to make the playoffs, it'll be a challenge, as it always is, when these two franchises get together, as it always has been. Back to take a look around the USL on the other side of this timeout. We're at halftime between Pittsburgh and Indy. No score on ESPN+.
Theo takes a shot, and that one is good.
And so Francis tapped over the bar by Dan Lind.
Shank cutting it across, the shot is on and in. Hernandez. Tipped over the bar by Perino. That's number 1 at his best. Here's Saeed. Goal! Oh my goodness! Off the audio, save is made by Patterson Sewell. To the right foot of Rio, shot goal! David Olsen goes for goal, tipped up by Wazinski. Tsubasa Endo with a great-looking strike. Endo with some room. Takes a strike. Endo hits it and has a hat trick. Forced lasso! Oh, look at Fernando Adi. Into the box. Fernando Adi, far post. Into the box. Corbin Bone! Corbin Bone heads it in! With that goal, Manu Ledesma sets a new USL record for assists in a season.
Goal and a score! Incredible goal!
Tampa Bay. They'll try and send one in on the ground. Score! And his service in finds the back of the net.
Wow. It's headed back across and down and in.
And is buried into the back of the net. This could be their moment. It's Baril. Yes.
Ball to Decker, and what a shot at the corner of the net. Right-footed shot, and he has it. And St. Louis has stolen a goal. Now headed in for a goal. Oh, and St. Louis has done it.
And there it is. He's just scored.
And then Sharp turns the near post, is scored.
Bends it in. Brett is denied and stopped again.
Tambaki's got just enough of a look at it.
And he puts it in. Rips that shot. Followed up and in. And he puts his team ahead once again.
Two Eastern Conference playoff hopefuls in the USL, unable to dent the scoreboard so far at Highmark Stadium on this first day of fall. I am Matt Geico. Let's look around the USL, take a wider view, as we always do here at halftime on our ESPN Plus broadcast. There you get a look at the Steel Army enjoying the halftime festivities on 90s night. Big announcement. I can't say much more than that. It's just either on your screen. Keep it locked in on USLsoccer.com and social media channels, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Also, Swope Park, Haji Berry, about as hot as anybody in this league right now. A new modern USL record with a goal in 7 straight. And the Las Vegas Lights, first-year franchise, missed the playoffs, and they will also be looking for a new manager in Season 2 as Jose Luis Sanchez Sola, or El Chilis, is stepping down. The Mexican coaching legend calling it a stint after 1 year in Vegas. Moving on elsewhere, as we continue to look ahead. That's our theme for the evening, at least at halftime. FC Cincinnati gets one more look on national television. ESPN3 will have the broadcast as they travel to City Stadium to face off against one of the old guard franchises in the USL, the Richmond Kickers. And the conclusion of our Game of the Week schedule, there's those Las Vegas Lights looking for a new manager against Phoenix Rising, one of the playoff teams for sure, out west. As for the Eastern Conference, just generally, what we can look forward to from a pretty tight top 8 once you factor out FC Cincinnati. Cincy looking like the favorite to lock up the Shield for best regular season record, as well as the #1 spot in the East. There you see the match I was referring to, the All-Keystone Battle for the Keystone Derby Cup. That's Wednesday. Also Wednesday, in fact, all these are midweek matchups. Charleston and North Carolina, Battery trying to stay on playoff position. North Carolina out of the picture and looking to climb back in. And Kickers in Cincinnati, 11 against the Rowdies, hosting the Rowdies. A big chance for Indy to pick up some points. Well, that's that, and as always, like I said, you can go to USLsoccer.com for the full schedule. As we get close to the USL Cup playoffs, we are less than a month away, folks. Almost to the finish line, and then it gets really exciting. Well, there you see some folks taking it in from high above Highmark Stadium. We'll come back with some highlights, some stats, and the second half kickoff on ESPN+.
You're a survivor.
I am a survivor, just like you're going to be a survivor, too.
Absolutely. I had the MRI when I went back and met with my gynecologist. She said, I want to err on the side of caution. One thing rolled after another. You know, I had the surgeries. The people down there just make it so much more doable.
Western Pennsylvania's top-rated health system for women's health is Allegheny Health Network.
The Riverhounds Technical Training Academy is back this winter at the AHN Sports Complex at Cool Springs. The 15-session program runs from December to March and is loaded with skills development taught by professional players from around the world. Registration opens in August. Sessions begin December 1st. Find out more by emailing wintertraining@riverhounds.com or by calling 412-325-7238.
All right, that's enough, you two. Don't paint your brother. No, you can't eat the clay. What can I say? Moms just know. I'm Christine Sorensen, and as a mom, I know parents know a lot. But for the few things we don't know, there's Kidsburg, your go-to resource for all the great things in our area for kids and families. Everything from kid-friendly events, creative learning, and help for parents. It's every Wednesday on KDKA TV, emailed to your inbox and online at kidsburg.org.
Both teams getting set for the second half. Let's look back at the first half, though, here from Pittsburgh as some early contact, some physical contact here. McInerney gets right by Hugh Roberts, slides it into the middle, but Dylan Mayers misfires there. Roberts getting back into the starting 11, in fact, for the Riverhounds for the first time in 3 weeks. But Mayers, he'll rue that chance that goes by with no damage against the Riverhounds. Adewale ran through a man, but he left Matt Watson open on the far sideline. Here's Watson's cross to McInerney, and again, a little errant for Indy, which ended up with 5 shots, none on target in the first half. And Paul Child, here's the one that probably should have led to something a little more productive for Indy. Starikoff balling it through, and this was the Riverhounds' best chance on Francois'
Yeah, this
free
is
kick.
a great shot by Francois, and like you just said, Indy had the great chance there with that extra bounce in the box, and it caused all kinds of problems. And then this one cut back into the middle, and player trying to do a scissor kick and didn't get over the ball. This is a great cross by Francois, real hard and very difficult for defenders to get rid of, and putting a lot of pressure under the defense there.
Francois had a few of them, including 2 corner kicks. There's the header from Adewale to Greenspan, off target. Another look at that from a different angle, from in behind the Indy goal. And Francois to Brett. It's hard to believe he missed that one. And Gene, as you said, maybe the feet just got tangled there.
Yeah, just couldn't really get his feet together on that. But as Paul had pointed out, Francois really, really effective and great little shot there by Nico Brett. But Francois really effective from both flanks, and doesn't need much space to get it off, Paul, does he?
No, he doesn't, and he can go by either side. That's what's pretty neat. He switched sides, and he's back over on the right side again now, and we'll see what he does over there.
Some out-of-town scores to pass along your way. A surprise from FNB Field in Harrisburg. Penn FC leads Cincinnati 1-0.
Ooh.
Also Charlotte with a 1-0 lead at the half against New York Red Bulls 2. Scoreless between Richmond and Tampa Bay. Same deal with Louisville and Ottawa. Ottawa, one of the more desperate teams out there. They're just outside the top 8 in the East. Off we go in the second half. The Hounds will attack, as they traditionally have this year, to our left in the second 45 minutes.
And don't see any
a flick
substitutions.
from Brett. Pardon me, Gene. Yes, everyone the same as we ended the half. Cross from Zemansky, headed into the atmosphere, not out of trouble, and then flicked by Mayers out toward the center circle. That's where Adewale has a bit of a mishandle. Then he stepped on McInerney's foot.
Yeah, he recovered just about in time there.
Through ball looking for Francois was Zemansky. That's twice Ben has fired balls into traffic.
Yeah, that was, he almost slid that through. If Francois gets that one, he's going to have a good opportunity.
Hounds are coming out the gate here, and they're really putting some pressure on right at the beginning. I think Bob said, let's get going here and try and get on the board.
Third corner kick for the Riverhounds, and Francois, funky Azil. I thought he might be able to put that one squarely on target. Now Adewale knocked down, but still managed to cross there off the back foot. And now pushed clear to the sideline by Suni Saad, and out for a Hounds throw. Put right back into the mix and intercepted by the Indy 11. Indy 11, wow, a little bit of a dangerous ball there, right in the face of some traffic. It was Brett up there, as was
normally
Forbes.
you don't want to cross the ball, put the ball across the penalty area in between a couple defenders, so that was an interesting one. But the Hounds have come out flying here, Paul, to start the half and put Indy under some immediate pressure. So
I think they needed to, Gino, and I think you would have done the same thing and got on the players and said, hey, this is here for the take, and it's time to get out there and go at them, you know.
Shots were 5 apiece in the first half. Just the one shot on target for either side, and it belonged to the Riverhounds.
There goes Francois again.
Downshifting, then kicking it into gear, but left the ball behind as he tried to run through Mayers. Mayers and Ouimet teamed up on the tandem defending.
And I think that's the one area of his game that I'm sure Bobley wants Francois to improve. Like when he gets his head down and he's running at one guy, lights out, and we'll take that anytime. But sometimes he goes into traffic and he goes into little traps, and these teams are smart enough. And Martin Rennie's, as we mentioned, is one of the top coaches in the league, and they're going to look for that and try to stop that with 2 or 3 players.
Yeah, I think what you're going to see is you're going to see 2 players come onto him every time, and then Francois is not looking at the second player or lifting his head up and making those really important decisions, Jay.
Yeah, if he can, if he can draw that second player, then somebody else is open. He can slip some balls in or whatever. But he puts his head down and thinks he's going to go through it. And I know, I'm sure Bob Lilly wants to clean that up.
Weak clearance from Indy taken by Kennardo Forbes, and the Hounds captain plays Vonkie Azil to the middle, and Dabo right back to Tommy V. Forbes stepping past Ouimet. Canardo Forbes has some room. It's been great lately. Square ball, Dover. Now Cristiano Francois, edge of the area, cutting in, tries to cross it. Zemansky scored! Ben Zemansky has his first goal as a Riverhound. Have a drink on me, Ben. You've put the Riverhounds ahead here. Early stages, second half. They've come out on fire.
How about Francois, Gino, Matt? Again, taking off down that line and just drilling that ball across, and people just having a hard time doing anything.
But also, Canardo Forbes on the left here, able to get it to Cristiano Francois, and then he puts it in great strike on goal by Ben Zemansky.
Oh yeah, Zemansky didn't mess around there, just got over the top of it and kept it down. Nobody could do anything about it. Great start to the second half for the Hounds.
Yeah, took a touch and just buried it.
The press box is shaking in Pittsburgh. We felt it last week. We sure did late. And we do again here. 49th minute, Ben Zemansky, the veteran of 133 MLS games, trying to make a home in the USL here in Pittsburgh, where his family has roots, even though he was born and raised in Akron, Ohio. Zemansky, the midfielder, converting. And, yeah, good call, Gene, on Canardo Forbes creating space and getting past Carl Ouimet on the edge here in front of us.
Yeah, I mean, again, we said in the first half we want to see Canardo Forbes on the ball a little bit more. He was able to do that. His vision is exceptional. He's able to connect a lot of players and is able to get that ball across. And boy, that was
and there's a great ball again.
Flying was Dover. Francois is going to be able to get around the edge again. Francois has Zemansky once more. Save made, Fawn Williams. Big rebound.
Oh, what another great goal.
2-0. Was it Brett? A big controversy and a tie-up at the net, but the goal has been awarded. Nico Brett somehow found that ball in the scramble right at the edge of the 6-yard box, and Brett makes it 2-0, his 15th of the season.
And that's where you want Brett, right in that 6-yard box, just waiting for any chance or any garbage balls coming down and just jumps on them crazy.
Terrific ball. And again, Cristiano Francois like flying at some guys, getting around the corner. Zemansky gets a touch. Rebound, and Nico Brett able to get on it, and that's the poaching you want to see from him.
Great second touch as well there.
Yeah.
Really
touched it and then come around on it and just put it away.
I mean, terrific save from Vaughan Williams on the initial one, but he spilled it back into Nico Brett, and although not much he could do.
And Zemansky, actually, I thought he was going to do exactly the same thing he did with the first goal, but he didn't get a great pass from Francois. He caught him on his left foot, and he couldn't get that shot off. Yeah. And he went over to Brett.
But his touch on the left foot went over.
Went over.
And that was what you needed. So, hey, we said right from the beginning, right from the get-go, the Riverhounds were coming out flying, and 2-0. What a great position for the Hounds.
Yeah, I don't know what Bob Lilly did to him in there, but he got a spark out of him for sure.
He certainly did, and the Riverhounds came out with a terrific, aggressive attitude and really went at Indy from the beginning, and it's paid off here.
2 goals without a game, or 2 games without a goal, rather, for Nico Brett as I try to gather myself. What excitement at the start of the second half. But Brett comes through here, poaches that one, and I think Zemansky's left-footed touch might have thrown Fawn Williams off balance. He did make the save, full credit, but he was definitely reaching for it. I had the same reaction that you two did. I thought we were going to see a left-footed power situation from Zemansky. Instead, he tried to flick it in. Now Canardo Forbes looking for a 3rd goal for Pittsburgh. Has some room over there for Brett, and he couldn't get it through Carlisle Mitchell. Funky Azil on line. Mitchell again the block.
And Indy 11 is just trying. They're sitting back and just trying to figure out what has happened here.
They're in shock at the moment, Gino, I think.
And the Hounds are feeling it, and they're really buzzing and going right after them.
Yeah, well, we saw the gold smoke, now the white smoke. There was still smoke in the air for that second goal. Funky Azil sending Forbes through, or trying to. Fawn Williams there to smother it.
Riverhounds really playing with a tremendous amount of confidence now. I mean, they're just moving the ball as quick as we've seen all year, Paul.
Yeah, it's amazing what a goal will do for you, Gino. A couple of them especially, because now they taste the blood, and it's like they're going after everything. And I think, as we said, Indy kind of are in shock a little bit, but now they're calming it down again and trying getting it back together.
Well, I think that's what Indy.
Saad called for the foul there, dragging down Jordan Dover.
I think of Indy right now. They just want to slow this game down and try to, get back into it a little bit, because if they speed it up or open it up a little bit, that's going to play right into the Riverhounds' hands. So they need to just kill the game a little bit and get some good quality positive touches and try to get back in the game. They got enough time, and if they can pull off an early goal, it's going to be an exciting finish to the end of this.
Riverhounds are undefeated, as you might imagine, this season when they've been so good defensively. When they scored 2 goals, they've done it 8 times, 2 or more, and they're 4-0-4. They did tie Indy 2-2. Not that this one's over, as we've tried to make mention of, but to recap the scoring, Ben Zemansky in the 49th minute, Nico Brett in the 51st minute, and Brett, who came into the season with 13 pro goals total in his lifetime, now has 15 in this season, this breakout season for the Riverhounds, playing where he played his college soccer at Robert Morris University. The Jamaican-born Brett has become a star in this league. Forbes, not sure what that one was supposed to be.
Now, Francois was making a diagonal run there, and the defender saw him making it and conveniently got in front of him and obstructed him, so he couldn't get on the end of it. But
but I don't think Canardo knew. He wasn't sure. He was looking for him, but then he hit it right to Twan Williams.
And Cristiano Francois getting back into the starting 11 for the first time in 3 weeks. Both times on that right side, he makes the play. Especially that second goal, he really drove and got to the byline and cut it back.
He's just been really dynamic on these flanks, whether it's Garcia on the left or Ouimet on the right side. And as we said, when he's running it. That one-on-one, one-on-one.
He's deadly,
It's.
I haven't seen many stop him this year.
I was
I'll
about
put
to
it
say,
that way.
I don't know, any defender in this league who wants to see that guy coming at him.
Szymanski nearly had a breakaway as he got a foot on a pass from Carlisle Mitchell.
He knew he didn't have the speed to get to that one for sure.
Not even sure that Cristiano gets there. Francois, another one of those former Rhinos that Bob Lilly had familiarity with from last year, brought aboard, and he's already surpassed last year's number of appearances by far. Forbes coming into, Francois coming into his own. And with help from Forbes here, the Riverhounds have broken through in this second half. And Canardo himself has a career best 8 assists on this season. Look at that move. And a great ball. Dover slows it down, waiting. Now back. Forbes fakes the shot, took a touch, and then one too many maybe, and lost control of it. Out with it comes Mares, nearing the center line.
Boy, that was an opportunity again right there that they could have capitalized on and didn't. But now Indy getting
great
down the
work.
left-hand side.
Mares walks the tightrope.
Yeah, really broke away.
Soon Saad can score from there, and it's partially blocked.
Yeah, I thought Forbes and Dover had him over there in the touchline. He was able to, as you said, Matt, walk that tightrope and get out of that.
Well, pardon me, it wasn't partially blocked. It's just straight out off of Saad's boot. I thought it was deflected at the point of strike. So the Riverhounds get a break there with Saad facing up against goal, and he scored from beyond there this season.
Yeah, I think he got over the ball a little bit too much, and it kind of bobbled a little bit, made you think it got deflected. But
and now the Hounds have 8 goals in their past 3 matches. That's their best such stretch of offensive productivity, and they're not done yet tonight. They've been more defined by their defending, and especially at home. But now, on this 3-game homestand, they've scored at least 2 in each of them. This is more what Lilly and the Hounds are looking for.
Here comes the switch on again for France. Or is it Dover this time?
Dover, yeah.
And he settles that down clinically, does Jordan Dover.
Oh,
Dover right through here. Francois was his sidecar. Cristiano Francois tries it toward the 6, so he was trying to get it through 2 bodies to Nico Brett on the back post. Zemansky lifts one, but that's off an Indy head.
But I'll tell you, like we had mentioned the first half, we thought Canardo Forbes has to see the ball a little bit more and makes, and hopefully make some plays. And everything is coming through him now.
Yeah.
They're finding him. He is able to work himself out of some tight spaces, switch the point of attack. I mean, you know, the entire attack is going through him, and then boy, that just opens it up for a speed demon like Cristiano Francois.
And he's making it happen for sure, Gino. And he came over here, like we said, he came to the left side, and he's been doing a lot of work over here and making it very difficult for Indy to get a grip of him.
The 11 have some serious work to do. Carl, we met with a step up, and the ball in. Dan Lind just barely got to that one ahead of McInerney.
Yeah, McInerney very close to beating Danny Lind to that ball, but again, well held and well played by, you know, handled cleanly by Danny Lind on that cross.
You can watch highlights from every game of the 2018 season and stay up to date with news from across the USL with the league's official Facebook page. Might be seeing a couple of these goals tonight over there at facebook.com/USL Soccer. Brett, the wide ball.
Nico Brett's getting out real wide as well. Gino is going out of the right side and the left side, leaving that center forward position because he's probably not going to get many balls that are in the air anyway, and making things happen.
Yeah, trying to get into those little channels between the you know, the center backs and the outside backs, or between Mitchell and Lamed out here, or on the other side, Ferrara and Garcia. So he's trying to get into those little channels, and that movement then is kind of that movement we saw with Indy 11 for sure the first 20-25 minutes, where their movement was giving us some trouble. And we're seeing Nico's, and then with Francois flying up on that side, it's creating a lot of confusion for Indy 11.
Indy's allowed a couple of goals for the first time since they played the Riverhounds last, in fact.
Looking for Greenspan here to kind of get his head on the end of this one.
Francois makes a run, stayed on side somehow. Roberts rises high, but went a little too hard at it and gets called for the foul. Hugh Roberts, that familiar flat top, making the move, but unable to do so legally.
I think he might have had a hand on the shoulder or something like that. But boy, I like that set piece. I mean, there was a tremendous amount of movement there, and I saw Francois flashing across that back line, and then some guys going out behind that.
And that's all he's really got to do, isn't it, Gino? Just make a run across there, because people are going to see him go.
He dragged a couple guys across with him, and then leave. Boom! There goes Roberts on the other side. Now has to be a high kick.
Leave the big guys over there open.
Ferrara.
This match has been physical. It has been testy after a slow start. Substitution upcoming for Indy 11. And it appears that Elliot Collier will come in for Brad Ring. So a forward for a midfielder as Indy shifts into full-fledged attack mode for manager Martin Rennie. Francois settles this ball down.
He did.
He does very well.
He did well to get on the end of it, because he'd lost it a little bit, but he's got so much speed. He caught up with it again.
Forbes and Dabo, and now Vanki Azil on a ball about waist height. He settles, does Vanki Azil, and finding Forbes. Knocked that over the head of Saad to Hugh Roberts, who slides it forward again. House trying to keep the pressure on and
again, all
create a third goal.
Are just wheeling and dealing and dictating the pace in the midfield.
And you can see the confidence just building as well, Gino, here. Once you
get that little turn there, Paul, just able and looking for it. I mean, he wanted Nico Brett to keep moving there.
That was taken away. Reiner Ferreira.
Oh, no.
Lind out off his line, and Saad can't get it past him. Sunni Saad cannot believe it. He's down on hands and knees. Dan Lind, I think, made the save there with his right hand or right arm.
Terrific recovery from Danny Lind.
He was very lucky he could get back to that one.
I mean, I didn't think he was going to.
No, me neither. And I'm sure the thought he was just going to slap that one in the back of the net, and then this big paw came around and just knocked that ball away from him.
Well, Dan Lind returning to the lineup last week, allowed a couple of goals. He's still a half an hour from a clean sheet here, but that might be the toughest save of the night. The hardest he has to work after the missed kick. Blew it right into Sunni Saad's shin guard.
Look at that's a great right hand to that. And and I think he hit Sunni Saad.
Oh, no, up high.
Up high in the face, and then he gets back, and there's a great recovery there to get across.
Gino,
get that hand
I
out.
would have thought, Matt, I thought he could have just, if he'd have just faked he was coming out to hit it and then just stepped back a yard, he could have picked that ball up in the box. I think that's where his hesitation really caused him a problem, you know.
And I'm surprised Saad didn't slide to try to get to that ball first. He played it rather nonchalantly for a player who scored a lot of goals in his career, knows what he's doing around.
He really did, but I think maybe because he was still hurting a little bit from that.
Could be, right.
And I think he didn't realize Lind was coming back behind him too, and he thought he had plenty of time because he got that 2 or 3 yards on him, and as I say, that big hand came around, the big paw, and just like slapped it away from him.
So dangerous situation there for the Riverhounds, because again, the 65th minute coming up and a goal there, and that makes it a different type of game. So almost another major goalkeeping gaffe.
Seemed to do it against Indy,
11, but he recovered. Okay,
change of substitution here. Not Brad Ring coming out. Instead, it's the captain, Matt Watson. He'll have a seat in the 65th minute. The same man checking in, though. So Collier, the attacking player, on loan from the Chicago Fire of MLS, 23 years old from New Zealand.
But he's we're going to see how they're going to sort this out, because we see Elliot Collier looks like he's going to right back. So,
okay, interesting.
Referee Lind, Indy didn't kick it to the goalkeeper, just kicked it out for a throw-in, but made sense.
Or no, I take that back. That's what Matt. No, I mean he's up top. My apologies.
No problem. So we'll be seeing 28 near the top of the formation. 28 with 99 McInerney, and also 14 Sunni Saad. Those are your 3 attackers. Also Dylan Mayers, the offensively minded midfielder. Players to watch.
So with Collier and McInerney up top, and of course McInerney or Collier, big target.
Well, there's a ball.
Through ball, Francois. He's in, and he
goes. Boy,
slid it wide to the left post, did Francois.
Yeah, he needed to hit that with the outside of his right foot. Instead, I think he caught it with the inside and took it past the post.
Yep, put some hook spin on it, did Francois, and that doomed him there.
He needed to put some English on it, is what he needed to do.
Exactly. Well, outside of the foot English.
Definitely missed it if there was English.
Francois, a native of Haiti, actually came to America in the aftermath of that terrible earthquake in 2010. Very cool story with Francois, establishing himself now in the pros. Last year with Rochester and now in Pittsburgh. And very nearly his 5th goal with the Riverhounds. He was more of a setup man than a scorer last year for Rochester. He had 6 helpers. Mohamed Dabo, the Hounds holding midfielder, takes that ball, and Vunky Azil pummels it up the pitch.
Nico Brad is only about 10 yards off there.
Yes, a little bit clear of that second to last defender was Brett.
And I'm sure Bob Lilly's letting him know, be aware of what's going on here, you know.
A little loss of focus.
I was going to say, I saw Bob saying, hey, you know you were offside.
I don't think he'd say it that way,
I don't think he did. I'm being polite.
Dover playing through. Zemansky out wide. Brett's making a run. He's 1v3. He nearly got to it, and that was questionable.
That's a handball.
Carlisle Mitchell got him on the arm, it appeared. No call in the penalty box.
Mitchell kicked it and hit his own arm with his arm out, and Nico Brett knew it and was trying to get the linesman to let the referee know because he was behind the play.
Tough angle for head referee Kevin Broadley. Saad taking this ball. Stripped by Roberts. And cleared on down by Francois.
Roberts using his body really well there, Gino, and getting it in there in between the offensive player and making it very, very hard for him to do anything.
So about 25 minutes to go, counting stoppage time. The Hounds defending a 2-goal lead here at home, trying to make it 9 wins at home. And a hard collision just outside the 18, just to our right.
Yeah,
Thomas Vanki-Azil was run into by Carl Wimet, the central back or outside back.
I think they cracked heads there.
Tough to see there from Vanki-Azil. He is reaching for his forehead right now.
Yeah, and this player.
That's not good. That's a head injury,
and Vanki-Azil is dazed. Out comes Tim Smith, the Hounds' athletic trainer.
Well, as we pointed out at the beginning of the game, the Hounds have a couple options there on that left side with Ray Lee and Andy Lubon both on the substitutes bench. So we'll see if Bob Lloyd decides to make a change.
Yeah, it looked like you're probably going to get a Ray Lee in there. He's
Lee
just
is warming up.
Him up.
Makes too much sense almost to make the move now with Vanki-Azil questionable to continue.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Matt, but Vanki-Azil is not one to stay down. So he's shown some considerable toughness throughout the year. So
he leads this Riverhounds team in minutes played. Does the 24-year-old French rookie?
I think you'll see him back in. I just don't. He's not one that wants to come out. But there again, it's.
The move might have been coming anyway, though. Yeah. It's tough to tell if it would have been a straight 1-for-1 or if maybe Lee would have replaced somebody else. But I think Ray Lee was already getting warm.
Yeah, as you see them checking Thomas out for all the concussion symptoms and seeing if he's okay with that. And of course, he looks like he's hit on the left side of his temple. So that is certainly a concern, and they want to be 100%.
No substitution yet. Dan Lind will have the free kick here just outside the box. And Lind sends left sideline.
And both teams playing with 10 men at the moment. Now Indy's got one on, and Zonky O'Neill's coming back in. Yeah, he's going to take the throw in.
Promise. Okay. Show some pretty good hands to catch that header and take the throw in.
Looks like cognitively he's good to go. And Carl Wimet did get a short checkup, as Paul alluded to, and Wimet is back out there too. Wimet scored 2 goals against the Hounds in their last playoff appearance in 2015. 3-2 extra time loss at New York Red Bulls 2. And the Riverhounds have not made it back to the postseason since. They're close to clinching. Won't be able to do so tonight, but this will be a big step in the right direction.
Good step by Ben Zemansky to maintain possession of that ball.
And he's doing an overlap right now.
He is.
He was looking for it from Francois, who elected to cut inside.
And that's, yeah, we're both going to say the same thing. That's where he's got to think, hey, give him the ball. And
strong game from Zemansky, especially in the second half here. We met bodied down by the equally large Toby Adewale, Riverhounds' second-year center back.
I think they'll be looking for the substitute, Elliot Collier. He's up there, interesting. He looks even taller than Greenspan.
I think he is,
That's a
we haven't seen that
match up there. Yeah, we have not seen that, man.
Joe Greenspan listed at 6'6".
It's a dangerous ball coming in with your left in swinging, as long as it's not too close to the keeper.
Well, with this Garcia, the way he's been hitting the ball.
Sure, he's got a great left foot.
Jose Garcia to the ball, and it's right into Lind's mitts.
Yeah, and that's what I don't think he wanted to do, really. I mean, that's where you got to keep it out, just outside the penalty spot, you know, so the keeper has to hesitate or don't want to really go.
Too far central, wasn't it, Paul?
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit easy. You know, Danny Lind's right in line with that ball, and he can come directly out. For that, you know, you want those more to the corner of the 6, where it's a little bit wide of him, and and you're hesitant to make that decision to go.
Oh, I thought Nico.
A takeaway, and both Brett and Forbes shied away from that ball. It was between the two of them from Jordan Dover and his side of the pitch over there by the touchline. Sometimes stats tell a story, gentlemen. The shots are 7-1 Pittsburgh in the second half after 5-5 in the first.
Wow, that does tell the story.
73rd minute as the Steel Army is in full throat. And they have outshouted the Brickyard Battalion in the second half, no doubt. First half, it was a little bit closer. Battalion down in the corner to our right.
There's a good crowd here tonight. I was surprised. I got stepped out at half-time, and the stands are full. I mean, they've been creeping in all night, and it's great to see a good support tonight for the team.
Well, Pittsburgh is a tailgating city. Sometimes it takes a bit to get people away from their tailgates.
As we discovered trying to drive into the park.
Can be a tight situation there. Okay, free kick for Indy over on the far flank. And the Indy 11 just 4 points up on that final playoff spot. We're the first team out. More directly, the Ottawa Fury. In swinging ball and headed over the crossbar by Guerra.
And nobody picking him up at all there. He had a lot of space, and he just needed to redirect that in the right direction. That could have been devastating.
I saw Ben Zemansky and Dover having a little conversation and trying to pick that up. And we see Ben encouraging the boys to make sure that they're staying alert on those restart situations.
We've received word from the sideline that Ray Lee will replace Cristiano Francois. So Francois will not play the entire 90 minutes here tonight. He's made it to the 75th. And even though he's not going to get 2 assists directly, he helped create both goals for the Riverhounds in the very early stages after halftime. Forbes takes a step. So quick. Now a left-footed drive. Fawn Williams makes the stop, and the rebound nearly skittered away from him right into the path of Brett.
He almost spilled that.
Yeah, Nico Brett following that in, which is a great. That's a great sign from a forward like that. There was an opportunity there. If that ball had just bounced away from the keeper instead of out to the sideline, he'd have got on that and put it away.
Fawn Williams giving Nico Brett a high five and a show of sportsmanship. Low ball off the corner from Francois. Zemansky wants to step around and crack one. And it is a handball. Good call, Paul. Just outside the penalty arc. And a dangerous spot for the Riverhounds to try to tack on a third.
Tough spot, really, Matt. It's dead center, and it's always kind of... hopefully they're going to make some kind of a play here and send it out wide, then come back in, because it's very difficult, other than a great shot from there. And but I think it's easier, right, Gino, for a goalkeeper.
Yeah, and I hope they're not substituting Ray Lee at this, because I want to see Cristiano Francois take this direct free kick.
Yeah.
Looks like they will. Yes. Someone else will have to handle it, because Ray Lee is stepping back into the action. Lee, a rare substitute appearance, just his second sub in.
Francois not going to look. He don't want to. He's concentrating on hitting that ball.
I mean, he was lining that thing up, and I thought.
I'm a little bit surprised.
I am too. I thought they were going to hold Ray Lee back. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's perfect for his range. I mean, we saw the earlier free kick even a little farther out, and he hit that dipping shot.
Yeah. I think I don't know why he did that. He could have just waited till afterwards. It just doesn't make sense. But because we've just seen him in the first half take a great shot that just, maybe even scraped the top of the crossbar.
Now we'll see Nico Brett or Canardo Forbes. Maybe they can match it.
Forbes has scored from outside the box. So has Brett. Not from this distance, though. Nico Brett's going to have one. Boy, did he crack that.
There was some velocity on that one.
Yeah, he was
might be the hardest shot I've seen any Riverhound take this season, in fact. It was teed up for him, and Nico wanted to add to the portfolio and climb a little closer in the Golden Boot race. It's not over yet, even though Nico's 4 shy of the leader.
So again, back to your description of Thomas Vanke Azil, Matt, as the Swiss Army knife of the Riverhounds. He has switched from the left side to the right back. And it looks like they've, and of course Ray Lee's come to his more familiar spot here at the left side, pushed Jordan Dover up a little bit higher to where Francois is, but of course he's not going to be doing the same amount of attacking as Francois. Obviously Bob Lee wants to lock down this last 12, 13 minutes, and with Dover more defensive-minded than Francois.
So there you have it. The chess pieces move around the board for Bob Lilly and the gold-clad Riverhounds. A cut in from Forbes. I thought he might take that opportunity. He still might. Now he'll give to Ray Lee, fresh into this contest. You know, he loves to cross it from that side, being a strong left-footed player, but he won't have the opportunity here as he was pushed to his back foot by that ball. Forbes again, though. Kenny gets it back from Lee. In for Brett, couldn't get a clean strike. Stepping through, no trip called.
Still possession for the Riverhounds.
They still have it. Zemansky, the fake on the right foot. And Lee right in on Fawn Williams. That was Jordan Dover who came flying in and almost appeared to win a penalty kick in that spot, but not according to referee Broadley.
No, he waved it off. I don't think there was much there, really.
Yeah, I think the hands now, Gino, kind of slipped back into this 5 defenders again now, just to, you know, in this last 12 minutes.
No,
so.
Definitely, Paul. They've gone back with the 5. They're going to try to lock it down here for the last 10, 15 minutes of the match.
And the counterattacks will be open.
Yep.
If they do defend well.
And I think even like Zemansky's dropping deeper in here with Dabo. We'll see Dover and Canardo Forbes in a little bit tight, a little bit more narrow. So it's really a 5-4-1 with Nico up by himself.
If this result holds, Indy might not feel the pinch because Louisville is beating Ottawa 2-0 right now. That's the team that Indy has to look out for. Ottawa number 9 in the Eastern Conference. 8 teams make the playoffs. There's a step 2 from Suni Saad over in the corner. Saad now gets the ball here from Collier. Swatted past him, Nico Brett.
Good view there, Nico.
Switching the ball up. And Forbes pulls it back. Nardo Forbes slows the pace here a couple of times. He looked up pitch, but decided against it. Another substitution upcoming for Indy. We'll get you that name in a moment. As the 11 now have possession of the ball. Indy in the white and the blue. They call them the boys in blue in the Hoosier State. And kind of a slow-paced play here from Brad Ring.
Yeah, I think Ring's going to be substituted with Kevin Venegas.
Venegas is coming in. 24-year-old Californian into the area and a score! And a mistake from the Hounds. And Indy 11 has struck back. Guess who? Jack McInerney. Double 9 makes it 2-1.
He's a dangerous guy. Can't leave him alone for a second. No. And little confusion on the Hounds' part, and that puts them right into the game.
Oh, it really
80th
did.
minute goal, 10th of the season for McInerney.
That was a bad communication block there. Right. These two were both going into the same.
Adewale and Greenspan actually collided literally as the ball squirted through, and Lynn couldn't get there in time to save it.
I'm not sure why Adewale's coming over there.
There's no reason when you got a player going towards facing the ball and going towards it, and he's running with his back to the ball and can't see what's going on, you know.
So that makes things very interesting for the final 10. The Hounds were on the verge of getting a third, and were looking footloose and fancy-free there in the attacking half.
And
now they have to lock it down completely if they want to take all 3 points, assuming they don't get that third.
Yeah, and here's the substitute Venegas.
Another deep
coming
ball.
Up from the right side.
Venegas running against Ray Lee, who headed it clear, and Lee dispatches that one. Indy 11, a goal from McInerney out of nothing, really. That's a few times now in the second half of the season we've seen the Riverhounds give up goals like that, where there's some miscommunication on the back line that was so tight in the first half of the year. But they've had some lapses.
We saw 2 miscommunications. There was the other one over there with with Dan Lynn.
When the keeper came out, and he should have probably stepped back into his box. We talked about,
this one, Indy has put Collier up there. They have McInerney. They have Suni Saad. Maris is still. He's dropped a little bit more into the midfield, and now Venegas is really pushing up high on this right side. So, I could see why Bob went to, or Coach Louie went to 5 in the back, but that maybe a little bit too many people there that got them confused.
Possibly the Riverhounds will be substituting Andrew Lubon in a moment. Lynn's going to try to get over, headed back toward the 6, and Robert saves the day that time. Boy, scrambly stuff.
Boy, Ray Lee there the player got behind him there, and he couldn't catch him.
That was a dangerous header across the box.
Great ball back across the box.
Indy has come alive. It's like,
That's all it takes.
Goals change games, as they say. This one is changed in a hurry. Mitchell going right up the gut with it, but can't connect to Collier. and the Hounds simply force it out. So Andrew Lubon is going to check in for Dover in just a moment for the Hounds. Lubon the outside back, Dover the outside back. Lind has this. The Hounds have now conceded in 4 straight home games. And they had given up just 3 all year before that stretch at home. That makes 5 in their past 4 here on the south side that they've conceded. 5 goals against in their last 4 home matches. 84th minute. The Brickyard Battalion is alive. They made the drive in on I-70. Lynn's going to dribble this one and waste some time.
Yeah, they got to calm it down a little bit, Gino, Hounds and Matt. I think, you know, they're kind of like panicking a little bit there for about 4 or 5 minutes, and now they need to settle back down and just kind of like work this game out and wait for their opportunities for the breakaway.
The Riverhounds need to do what we said Indy needed to do after they conceded those 2 goals. You know,
yeah.
You just got to like get your legs back a little bit. And
Forbes Zemansky's been so active here in the attacking third tonight, but he's dispossessed there.
I thought Zemansky there had a chance. He could have hit that one with his left peg, and he didn't. He wanted to touch it a couple more times and didn't come away with it.
Carl Ouimet got in the way. Defending hard. Juan Guerra to Ouimet, overlapping here. Tense times at Highmark Stadium.
Yeah.
The Hounds get 3 to put them in a great spot to not only make the playoffs, but also host a playoff game. It was 2-0 for nearly a half an hour until McInerney drug one back and a foul called against Guerra of Indy. Canardo Forbes drew it. Here comes the substitution, Lubon from nearby Erie, Pennsylvania. Lubon applauds the effort of Jordan Dover as they'll swap spots.
What I see, Gino and Matt, when we kind of get this 5 in the back, we kind of like we're thinking we've got plenty of players here and we can take cover, take care of anything. But they're letting the midfield players have plenty of time in the middle here. And when they start coming towards them, they seem to back off instead of closing them down.
They do, and is there a tad bit of confusion because of the movement now? Well, now with Collier into the game and McInerney, is the confusion is a little bit of who has who, and we're seeing this kid Collier coming in and doing a pretty good job between the lines like that.
Yeah, look at him go. The big man can move, can he not? On his left foot, stumbles down.
He's not going to
no call.
I thought he was pointing to a free kick there, but he was pointing.
Thought he was too. I'm not sure what he was pointing at. The referee
I think
broadly.
he was like waving. No, I see it. It's not on. But
through ball. Saad receives it in front of Roberts. Cross in. No, the cross does not get through, but the Hounds block it out past the byline. The first corner kick for Indy in the match.
Yeah, I was about to say, is that their first?
Yeah.
It feels like it, and it in fact is. The Indy 11 setting up for a free kick situation. Ayoze Garcia now wearing the captain's armband after Matt Watson checked out. Garcia, the left footer. It swings outward. Greenspan just got the top of his head on it to direct it into safety.
This is where the Hounds have got to get picked up right away, Gino, and kind of like damp this thing out and don't let them get these balls back into the box again. A couple of players wide open on the left side.
Yeah.
The throw from Reiner Ferreira. Collier got maybe a head to his head. Toby Adewale won that battle, no call. Lubon turns on the Jets. He's putting some pressure there on Garcia. Serves it back to his keeper, Owine Fawn Williams.
I'll tell you, Indy's really pushing everybody up very, very high, as we see.
Well, Indy only has 4 matches left. They have a tough schedule. They feel like if we have an opportunity here to get a point. Look at Collier work. Couldn't get the ball back, but a foul called.
And again, another dangerous spot. We'll see how they're going to. And here comes Garcia over. You know, he's going to try to whip that in and see if he can do a little bit better than the last time, because he struck it straight to Danny Lynn. And he's going to want to get that out a little bit wider. And of course, they have the, you know, their big boy Collier is going out very far, and you can see he's going to make a run into the corner. That's 6.
Yeah.
Iose, the veteran, one of 8 players over the age of 30 on this Indy squad. Experienced, you know, they're probably not going to panic much. And so many of these players have been in these positions before. Garcia with a one-man wall confronting him. Who's marking up there? Doesn't matter. Lynn goes up. No, it does matter as it bounces free. And then Adewale had to crack it out. Dan Lynn couldn't hold it. Now a counterattack for the Riverhounds. 2 men strong, make it 3. Forbes holds, plays wide, cutting in Brett.
To be a PK.
It will be a penalty kick. Nico Brett draws the call, and the Riverhounds are a boot away from a 3-1 lead.
And I think it's Forbes that's going to be taking it, especially after him taking the penalty last week and slotting it away.
Mohamed Dabo was that third man who was calling for the ball. You saw him cut in front of Forbes, who decided against it. He fed Brett, and Brett had the step, and it will be King Kenny, Kenardo Forbes, to strike his second PK in as many weeks.
Yeah, there was no hesitation. You knew that was going to be Kenardo Forbes. So. But what a great counter from the Riverhounds, a terrific breakout.
Yeah, they did after that kind of a clumsy coming out from the Lynn there and not getting a grip of that ball, Gino, and letting it bounce could have caused a lot more problems for the Hounds. And
will it be a repeat of last week? Forbes looks like he wants the right foot against Owain Fawn Williams, and he scores to the left corner this time. PK converted, and the Riverhounds are going to come away with all 3 points.
I think that was brilliant there, Matt and Gino. He looked up just before he kicked it and seen the keeper, like he must have been watching some tapes last week and know that he was going to go to the right side. Then he just switched on him and went to the left.
Yeah, he waited until he made his move, didn't he, Paul?
Yeah, really.
And then he just read it and buried it. What great composure.
Oh, brilliant.
And the man of the match for me by far. I mean, as much as Cristiano Francois was dangerous, he was the guy that picked this up in the second half.
Yeah.
3-1, and that's all in a night's work for Kenardo Forbes. He'll be replaced by Romeo Parks here in stoppage time.
I'm glad he let Forbes take the penalty kick before he changed him this time.
As opposed to what we saw with Francois on the free kick, yes.
Yeah.
That's a funny little bit of parallelism. The Riverhounds have the 2-goal lead back. Some nervous moments on the south side, but that's all alleviated now. And that is a career high for goals in a single season for Forbes. The 30-year-old Jamaican now has 4 on the year, the last 2 from the spot.
5 minutes of overtime, that's quite a bit.
Maybe it's not quite over yet. I was expecting 3 perhaps. There were some injury situations, and it's a goal for Indy. And redirected by Venegas.
Yeah. I think Greenspan headed that in. He got nudged in the back and got on the end of it and headed it in. I might be wrong
again, but
Venegas, the deflection from the doorstep, 3-2. The Riverhounds have conceded twice now for the second straight match. And yes, that was Greenspan who was in front of Venegas, and maybe it was a push. Let's look at that replay. I don't know if we're going to be able to tell.
Yeah, it
sure looked like it, but all we saw was the result, not the potential offending play, but there you go.
Well, now we have some exciting stoppage time, as we all thought with that, that Kenardo Forbes penalty that from the spot that would have been it for the game, but boom, quick strike from Indy 11, which is exactly what the Riverhounds didn't want.
Venegas, second goal of the year. It's 3-2.
And Indy's going to be pumping balls into the area as often as they can, I'm sure.
We met, stepping forward, all 4 or 5 goals now in the second half. Yeah. Remember, this was 0-0 after 45.
Yeah.
It's gotten wild and crazy.
Intense.
It really has.
Hound's trying to get their line up a little bit, and Greenspan is going to be called
commits
for that
a foul. He doesn't like it at all. And not going to be able to get that restart is Indy.
They tried, but their man's on the ground, so they couldn't do that.
Yeah, this is a tough call again.
I think that's, is that
Collier, big man against big man.
Yeah.
So give Indy's Venegas the goal in 90 minutes plus. Collier coming up gimpy, but he's staying in the action. He's been quite effective for the 11.
Yeah, he really has. He's made a difference since he's come on.
They've got players that are free in there. Everybody's got to be picked up.
Garcia, a bit of a floater here, and that's handled by Greenspan. Davo muscled out, but here comes Romeo Parks with a lot of room to run. Parks wants to switch it up maybe, then he poked it right by, and there's a foul. The assistant referee helps out here, and it's a yellow card, in fact.
And
yellow card against Venegas.
If they served it, Nico Brett ran off sides. It was, all he had to do was hold that because he had all, he has a lot of, green behind him.
It is, when you're getting that opportunity and you look up and you just see one or two defenders and you got two guys going at them, you kind of like, I got to get there quicker and obviously jump the gun sometimes and get caught.
Yeah.
Venegas gets nabbed. He's put himself on the score sheet a couple of times. Deep ball in. Fawn Williams will grab it instead of settling for the goal kick.
And send it way down the field again, I'm sure.
Looks like possibly under a minute to go in this one. We're in the 95th. Indy has struck for a stoppage time equalizer against Pittsburgh earlier this season on their home pitch. Collier blocked.
Now they have a corner kick.
It was blocked. The help defending at least prevented the shot from going on target.
Keeper's coming up too. Everybody's going to be in this box for into the mixer.
Owain Fawn Williams, well, he stepped two for a moment. Now he's back at the midfield area. Indy plays it short. Garcia, whistle here.
Is that the game? No.
That is not the game.
Offside.
Offside on the corner. Garcia himself was offside after he dumped it short. Mental mistake for the 11.
Yeah,
that is a strange one.
That was a strange one.
I don't know whether we would even see that on a replay because I don't know how he could have been off.
I mean, when they played it back to Garcia, I'm like, is he offsides? Because we pulled out of there, but it was like.
He wasn't expecting it, and he's ticked. He slams down the water bottle. That may have scuttled the last chance for the 11.
Yeah, I mean,
it's full time.
That's all. The Riverhounds do win it. They do hang on. Hounds win. Hounds win 3-2. Win number 14 on the season, and they move 8 points clear of Indy in the Eastern Conference standings, getting all three, but it wasn't easy tonight at Highmark.
Well, that was an exciting ending to this one. I mean, just goals coming all in the second half, and especially very late here in the game.
Yeah,
and,
2 weeks in a row, we've had some late game heroics and really made it, kept the fans in their seats until the final whistle.
Everybody's still here, that's for sure.
Are you not entertained, Pittsburgh soccer fans? Well, in the end, they're happy with the results. And as you watch here tonight on ESPN Plus, quite the matchup. It got loose and really interesting in the second half after a scoreless first. We'll be back to wrap it up as the Riverhounds finish their 3-game homestand unbeaten. Meanwhile, Indy has dropped back-to-back games. Keep it right here on ESPN Plus.
The Riverhounds Technical Training Academy is back this winter at the AHN Sports Complex at Cool Springs. The 15-session program runs from December to March and is loaded with skills development taught by professional players from around the world. Registration opens in August. Sessions begin December 1st. Find out more by emailing wintertraining@riverhounds.com or by calling 412-325-7238.
It's so unfair. You just feel stripped of being a woman, not being able to have a child. Or they had told me that I can't have kids naturally. It was just like waterworks.
Yeah, what's it like being pregnant?
But it's an amazing thing to know that I don't have all of the things to make a baby, but I still made this baby.
I mean, it really is a miracle.
Seriously.
Call 412 Doctors for an appointment with a fertility expert at Allegheny Health Network.
Well, that was quite the night to finish up the homestand. Riverhounds 3 and Indy 11-2. That's your final after, I want to say 90 minutes. It was more like 95, 96. Just like the last time these two teams went at it. It was not decided until the final whistle. Let's look at the highlights from this one, and there were plenty, especially after the break. Although I don't want to shortchange the first half as well, but it was all about what happened in the final 45. And in fact, we'll cut right to the second half. There's Francois dumping the ball off the body of an Indy player, and it bounced right to Ben Zemanski. That was in the 49th minute. So a quick start and one extra look at that, the cross, and a fortuitous bounce, and Zemanski knew what to do with it.
No hesitation at all. He just got on top of it and drilled it, and here he goes again, too, Matt.
Around
nice
Ferreira, past ring, Zemanski's shot stopped by Fawn Williams. Nico Brett, second touch.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, Ben Zemanski reaching for that one. And as you see here, he comes in pretty much in the same spot, but it's on the left foot. He touches over. Fawn Williams puts it back into play, and Nico Brett is not going to miss that one, and he's poaching right off that rebound.
He's calling players over to come celebrate. There was some disgruntled Indy players after that. Well, this one looked like it might have saved the game, or at least kept this one firmly in Riverhounds' control. Miscommunication, and then another one led to McInerney's goal to make it 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, we see that one. It's coming over. Adewale is tracking the striker, but Greenspan's coming over facing the ball, and he runs into him, and it bounces off to the goal.
Hesitation clearing it, you know, and this was a great spot here, and actually was really well taken.
Very well taken.
Forbes goes left this time. Fawn Williams, boy, he dove out of the picture to the right on that side. And give Brett and Forbes credit on that counter for creating the PK. The Riverhounds second in as many games, and both times Forbes converts it. So it was 3-1, and it was in the 90th minute, by the way, so you feel like it's wrapped up, not so much. Maybe a foul there as Greenspan stumbled down. Lind is ticked off, as you see. It was Suni Saad, though, who put it into the mix, and Kevin Venegas pulled one back again to 3-2. But a late offside on a corner kick, that decided it. Indy squandered their final chance. Here are some live standings, if you will. So we're assuming some of these results from tonight are holding up. There you see the Hounds, though, 3 clear of the Battery for 4th, and 8 clear of Bethlehem and Indy now for 5th. Above 4th and above, I should say, get you that home playoff match.
Yeah, and that's what the Riverhounds want to be, and certainly they wanted 3 points tonight. They have to go on the road for a few here to finish off the season, and so that's an important 3 points. And for Indy, they're in the same place when they started.
And the Hounds still have a game in hand over the teams above us, so that's even another one where they got an opportunity to even creep higher.
Yep, they can leapfrog Louisville.
And that's assuming that the Battery do pull out at least a draw their 1-1 with Nashville at the moment. Again, go to USLsoccer.com. Things change very quickly on a match night, especially like this one. Things change very quickly in the second half. If you're talking Pittsburgh and Indy, both out in Indianapolis a month ago or here tonight, Pittsburgh wins the season series 1-0-2. Next time we're back with you from Highmark Stadium will be in 2 weeks' time. Pittsburgh welcomes the top team in the league, FC Cincinnati, one final time in the regular year. And as for Indy, they're back at it against Tampa on Wednesday at home at Lucas Oil. For Paul Child and Gene Klein, this is Matt Geico wishing you a great night. Thanks for hanging with us on ESPN Plus. All 3 matches in this homestand, all were exciting. Good night.
Good night. Good night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.